Hi, my lovely friends. If you have the urge to write your first book or are a seasoned author who feels you're running out of ideas, then this video could be for you. As an author with over 120 books currently live, honestly, I've stopped counting. I know it's more than that. But one of the most frequent questions I get asked is, where do I get my ideas from? Here are 5 idea generating ideas for you, and I'm adding a bonus one at the end, so stay tuned. The first idea is pictures. For me, this is the method that I use. I write paranormal romances, and my first step in writing any of my stories is to find pictures of my main characters. At the risk of sounding like I'm invoking some author woo-woo stuff, I am looking for pictures that speak to me. But this doesn't just have to apply to character pictures. Perhaps you're scrolling Pinterest and you see an exotic location, or perhaps you've seen a video of someone visiting these locations and you feel your creative juices are starting to stir. I'm not a doctor or a scientist, so I can't say this for certain, but I believe there is a direct link between the things we can see and our creative muse. So start scrolling, or even go out for a walk and see what can tickle your fancy. Idea number 2 is true life stories. And I have to add a quick qualifier here. I'm not suggesting for an instant that you copy or plagiarize other people's work. Do not do that. But there are numerous stories now available online about historical criminal cases and strange things that have happened around our world. The sort of situations where you'd hear people say, oh, well, those situations are so unbelievable, but they are documented. They did happen. And oftentimes, reading these stories can spark a fire in your muse. I will make a note here about using criminal case files, because I do understand that a lot of people in the sort of crime detective genre and what have you like to use existing case files as a basis for their story. This channel is for fiction writers. And while there's nothing wrong with including criminal case details in a loose format in a fictional world, would you please be respectful of victims and their families, and do not use any identifying information in your work? What you're doing when you read these cases is, particularly if it's something that interests you, then you just use a framework of a crime or a situation as a starting point for your fictional crime character. Perhaps they're going to investigate it. Perhaps they were the one that did the crime. But either way, please be respectful if you're using true life situations. Idea number 3, following on from stories, is there are stories in your own life or in the people around you. Before she became an author, my daughter Holly worked as a registered nurse with a specialty in aged care and hospice. She used to tell me so many stories that she heard from her clients about their wonderfully varied lives. And there is a whole treasure trove of ideas just in listening to an old person. Incidences from your own life can also generate ideas, whether it be something random that's happened while you were out one day, or experiences you've had in your earlier life. For me personally, I don't tend to write about my experiences as a survivor of DV, but my lived experience with complex PTSD and anxiety, and in particular the coping strategies that I use to get through my day, they often pop up in a particular character's daily life. So look at what you do and the things that you experience and tap into that for a bit of creativity. Idea number 4 is reading books. Now, I'm mentioning this because this is where I got my start with writing fiction. If you've watched my video on how I got here, I'll try and remember to link it somewhere up there, then you'll know I'm an avid reader, particularly in my genre. But imagine for yourself, regardless of what genre it is you're reading, have you ever read a book and then at some point thought, but what if they did that instead? Where that is the characters going off on a totally different tangent, which of course would lead to different outcomes. Now, I do have to mention here that some new authors tell me that they don't like to read in their genre, particularly while they're writing, because they're worried they're going to plagiarize somebody else's work. Plagiarizing is taking a direct copy of someone's words and using them as your own. Ideas for stories are not capable of being copywritten. Anyone can use any idea they like. I've told the story many times of how when I was in a collab with 3 other authors, we all had the same starting point. Literally, we came together and wrote the prologue scene for the first book, well, for all of the books together. So each of our books had the same prologue scene written from our character's point of view. And then we all went off and wrote about our particular character from there. Every single story was wonderfully unique, and it was an awful lot of fun to do. So remember, your style and the way you write will lend a uniqueness to your story, even if the ideas that you've read and are using have been done a million times. It's your voice in that counts. Which brings me to idea number 5, which is talking to other authors or friends. Writing is by its nature usually a solitary occupation. And although I write most of my stories by myself, some of the best fun I have is when I'm collabing with another author like the lovely JP Sale. When we have our monthly video chats, honestly, that woman is so much fun and she has some wickedly wonderful ideas. Our chats can last up to 3 hours sometimes as we share ideas for the stories we're writing together, but also for the stories we write alone. I know if I get stuck for something, I can talk to JP or my daughter, who's an author as well, or one of the many other author friends that I've made along my 11 years in this business. Now, I know not all of you have writing friends. When I got started, I didn't. And honestly, none of my family were interested in what I was doing at the time. They were supportive, don't get me wrong, but they didn't want to know the details. But this is where the online world can be so useful to you. If you join Facebook groups, for example, in your genre, you will quickly see those people who are truly invested in the written world. You know those ones? They comment on everything and they offer really useful advice. It'll only take you 2 seconds to send a friend request so you can chat in DMs with that person, and who knows, you could get a decent, genuine friend out of it too. Author groups are another great networking idea where you can find another new author like yourself and chat together about your respective ideas. Please ignore that siren. It means somebody's had a car accident. That's the volunteer fire brigade siren going off. I do apologize. But finally, the bonus idea, daydreaming, letting your mind run free from all constraints. I'll give you an example. Pick up an object, any object. I have no clue who this is. I don't even know if you can see it properly. But anyway, my grandchild got quite excited because I said to her that I got it in a mystery box I bought on Etsy. But regardless, if I look at this and I think, who is this person? Why does he wear only black? Bit like me. Does he need new glasses? Because I don't know if you can see, but these ones don't seem to fit him. And what's with his hair flying up all like this? Is he an air mage? My muse will start finding the answers to those questions for me. And that's where a story is born. Or what about something else? Here. I got this morning in the mail too. Again, I'll try and hold it up properly so you can see it. But this is a print of a picture by artist Bailey J, who is here on YouTube. And I absolutely love this picture because I like the paranormal side of things. So this picture gives me witchy vibes. Like, are the cats familiars? Are there witches and warlocks off dancing naked in a field somewhere? Who knows? But there's a story there. Or even, oh, hang on. Let me pull this a second. I'm making up the props as I go. Here we go. What about this? This is a glass of, well, half a glass of V. No sugar, probably not good for me. But I allow myself one small can of this a day. But what if it wasn't a drink in a glass? What if this was a compound in a test tube? Or a potion mixed into somebody's drink at a party? What does this drink do? Will it make your character live longer or induce a heart attack on the spot? Does this liquid have the power to save the world or cause its destruction? All of this from a glass. The key to all of these examples is if you ask the questions, your creativity will fill in the answers. I have kept this video to just 6 short ideas to give you some ideas, to give you a diving board so you can spring into the amazing world of all the ideas you can find around you. Once your creative muse realizes you're serious about writing a book, it will be willing to start exploring the wonderful worlds of your new fiction story, idea. What would you call it? But just know your creative muse will be on board. Do you have other ideas? Where do you get your ideas from, stories from? If you leave them in the comments below if you want to share, because you could be helping a fellow author. And if you found this useful, please hit the like and subscribe button. I post long-form content. I'll get it out. I post long-form content on Mondays and Thursdays. And until the next one, my friends, keep writing. Bye.